Hi, this is Jonathan Tiersten from the Perfect House and Sleepaway Camp, and you are listening to the Real Nerds Podcast.
Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast at Denver Comic Con 2014 and beyond. I am Ryan. With me always is
Brad
and
James,
and they're both really awesome. Hey guys, how's it going?
Aw,
What's up, buddy?
He said we're awesome.
I'm going to try something new this week, guys. I'm just going to compliment you all the time instead of just being a dick.
Positive reinforcement.
I'm gonna be
Reinforcement.
This is gonna make me really uncomfortable.
Okay, I'll go back to being a dick.
No. It's okay. It's okay.
No, you didn't like me as nice, James. So I'm just going back to being a jerk.
No. I'm
Be a dick and reinforce your pod show persona so that people think you're one and the same.
I know. It's really funny when we shoot that, and every time I read the character, I'm like, man, I am a fucking dick in these shows. Because one episode we haven't even shown yet that we have debuting in season 2 that we shot some of it for. There's lines in it that are just pretty mean, I say. So stay tuned for that 2015 Pod Show season 2 or whenever they come out. Every week on Real Nerds Podcast, we go see a new movie and we podcast our experience to the world. This week we saw Robocop 2014. It's not the 2014th installment of the series.
Yeah.
It's the year 2014.
Though I was there when Brad talked about all the different RoboCops, and it feels like it's the 2014th RoboCop.
There's a lot of them.
Because there's that whole like TV series thing, like the mini series.
I remember I was driving back from Wyoming, and you were talking about the RoboCop TV series.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Prime Direct. Apparently there's two. There's the Sci-Fi Channel one, I think, or the Canadian one that looks like a Sci-Fi Channel production. And then there's like one, I guess, came out on USA or something. I don't know, but they had clips of it at the Alamo Drafthouse beforehand, so I think that's it.
Oh, is that what that was? I thought it was just them making fun of RoboCop.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Interesting.
But anyways, yeah, that's what we do. We also talk about movie news, what we've been watching every week. My Jason Statham marathon continues. Also, we do comic books, DVDs that are coming out, box office numbers. I already said DVDs are coming out.
Yeah.
Movie stuff.
Yeah.
We love movies.
We're gonna talk about movies.
We also do fan mail. I don't think we got any fan mail, though.
We did. Someone wants to punch me in the face.
Yeah. Randy
That's
did say-
really not fan mail.
Yeah. We can't read it because it's I want to punch Brad. Here's my phone number.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, Brandy wants to see a movie with us. Any week we don't have a guest, we'll send you guys messages who've asked to be on the show. Because sometimes, like this week, we had a guest, and you can hear the interview with Ivan. I don't want to pronounce his last name because I think I'll mess it up. And but you'll hear that about his movies. So anytime we'll line you up and we'll tell you what movie's available. If you want to see that movie with us and comment on it, you're more than welcome.
Yeah,
to.
that's the hard thing is that next week I don't think we know yet what we're seeing.
I know.
So
we'll hang in there. So James, I always ask Brad what he wants to do, but fuck Brad this week.
Hey.
What's the first thing you want to do this week?
I want to fuck Brad. Well, no. Let's watch. Let's do what we've been watching.
I'm going to leave.
We'll do what we've been watching first.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm fearing for my life.
Let's get that out of the way.
Well, I wouldn't be fearing for your life. I'd be fearing for your butthole.
That's not where I want.
Well, you said no. I want to fuck Brad. Is what you were saying.
No, I didn't.
I mean,
I heard it.
I
It's
was
recorded.
just.
I mean,
No, I
We can
stuck.
go back and
it was a flub.
Hey, hang on a second. Hey, Brad, replay what James just said. I want to fuck Brad. See, it's right there.
Ah, man. Why did I say that?
Yeah, here's the stuff we've been watching.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Brad, you never start. You start this time.
Fine.
Wow,
Get ready to fall
he's
asleep.
being nice.
This week I watched 3 things. The first one is I saw an old movie called Streets of Fire.
Oh,
man, the one
I wanted to see that
Did you?
because the trailer at Alamo was so stupid, and I really wanted to see it.
It was awesome. The movie's stupid though.
Yeah.
Keith, the guy who programmed it, he's like it's been his mission to get people to watch this movie because he thinks it's like a cult classic and everyone should see it. But it's really dumb, and I didn't think it was entertaining. The whole story is there's this like drifter character who kind of wanders the earth, and he shows up in this one town where his ex-girlfriend is it's a young Diane Lane. She's a singer. What is it? I think it's like God, what's her name? Emily Aim, I think. And she has this band, and then Willem Dafoe and his gang of like greasers shows up. And
of course.
I am in.
I said Willem Dafoe. And he watches a little bit of the show, and then when she like ends her song and shouts out to the crowd, he does this like loud overacting like no, and then like just starts fighting everybody, and then bum rushes the stage and kidnaps her. And then the rest of the movie is that like lone warrior, I forget his name, but his job is Rick Moranis is the club owner. He hires this guy to go get her back, rescue her. And that's the movie, is just like him staging like an onslaught of the greaser gang in this Detroit warehouse area, and then their quest back to the town, which before he leaves the greaser's lair, our hero's stealing a bike, and then Willem Dafoe like walks up in there. They kind of have this exchange where like, okay, you got the best of me now, but I'm going to come get you in like 5 hours. Even though they could just fight right there.
Well, there's no suspense then.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
You should watch it if you think if
you
don't believe me.
There's a lot of empty space in there.
So
there's like really awful dialogue.
So why does Keith like it so much? Do you think? Do you think it's so bad that it's one of those movies that's so bad people like it?
Yeah, it's definitely. I can see where people would like it if you're into like kitschy. Like, there's also like a musical essence behind it. So, like Rocky Horror Picture Show, a lot of the people enjoyed the music of it. And I think this is one of those things where it has like a lot of these like 70s, 80s rock songs that are sort of catchy. They're just in this style that like people appreciate. So I think that's it. But it's just like an entertaining movie. It's just, other than that, like I can't get into the story. The characters are just like flat. Uninteresting, like cheesy as hell. Like you got little Rick Moranis trying to be this tough, like club owner who's jealous of the hero's past with the girl he's dating. And then like there's this, I don't know why she's in the movie, but Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She just shows up in the third of the movie. Why can't I figure this out? Not the second half, but like half of the second half.
Third.
Yeah. Of the movie. She just shows up because she's a fan.
Half of the
pre-climax?
Yeah.
And
towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
They're on this bus with like this doo-wop group who eventually become like the opening act for Emily Aim. I think that's her name. It doesn't matter. But so they introduce those characters who are just along for the ride because they hijack their bus and suddenly they're friends. Like they hijack the bus at gunpoint and then they become friends like a scene later. Like, oh yeah, it's no problem. You pointed a gun at me, whatever. Stole my bus and like got us all in trouble with the cops. Like we were just going to a show. But yeah, that Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, she just shows up and she's a fan of Diane Lane's character, and then she just disappears. She's not even part of the end of the movie, but she's made to be like this side character. And then, Rick Moranis, he's supposed to like act tough and be tough, and he has all these just cheesy ass lines that just make him look really silly. So if it's like trying to be a B movie, it succeeded, but I think it's trying to be serious, and it's made by Walter Hill, who did The Warriors and stuff, which. Warriors is okay to me. Like a lot of people like that too. I like the essence of it, but when you actually watch the story of the movie, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Simple, one note. Yeah. And there's like a lot of just like shots of things. Like the story doesn't move. And like questionable. Like what's the motivation for any of this, other than like, yeah, you kidnapped my girl, go get her back. So I watched that, and the second thing I watched was, bear with me, Pretty Woman.
Okay,
that's all right. It's a good movie.
Yeah, well, it was interrupted by the Grawlix guys, Adam Caton Holland, Andrew Orville, and Ben Roy, and Harrison Raines, who does Mile High Sci-Fi, and that was funny. The movie, I don't know why it's kind of considered a cinema classic, because it's really dumb and boring. And not just because it's like a love story thing, but really, there's just a lot of silliness. Like, why does this make sense to people? Like, it's also kind of like a bad example for women to follow. That
so if you become a hooker, you'll get a nice man.
Yeah. Like what you need, like what makes your life fulfilling is to find a rich man who will take care of you. Is really what it boils down to. And then there's just like stuff happens in between. They just kind of hang out and chat. And have you guys seen it?
Yeah. I think it's.
You think it's
I've
great?
seen it a while. I don't think it's great.
Yeah, it's not like a movie that I watch on a regular. I've never owned it, but
the joke they made throughout the movie when they're MST3K'ing it is like, Julia Roberts would say something and then like I think 3 or 4 times the go-to was like, and this is how America fell in love with Julia Roberts, and that whole scene where like she goes back to the clothing store and like shows them up.
Yeah.
Now she's like all a classy lady. Like in pop culture, it makes it seem like such a big deal, but when you actually watch it in the context of the movie, it's like not a interesting thing at all.
See, I never could get on the Julia Roberts bandwagon because her mouth is weird. I mean, it looks like she could probably suck a mean dick, but I don't know if...
I like Julia Roberts, but I don't know why.
I don't think she's in anything I really like.
I think she's good in things. She's good in like Steel Magnolias.
Mystic Pizza.
Pelican Brief.
Meh.
What am I forgetting? But I was never like a big...
Erin Brockovich. Remember how daring it was if she wore a push-up bra?
Yeah, see, I never found that movie to be all that...
Neither did I.
I think about it. I don't think I've seen a lot of her movies.
Remember when we went... Did you see Mona Lisa Smile with me in the theaters? Remember when
I was there, yep.
Yeah, Adam dragged us to that.
Oh, my God. That's... Why?
Well,
why?
I guess I should, Adam didn't drag us to that. His girlfriend wanted to see that, and we just like, I guess we'll see a movie. And then halfway through, I was like, putting a gun to my mouth, and Brad says, it's not worth it.
I really like Notting Hill.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Mona Lisa Smile, that's like one of those movies that have gotten lost as time has got. Like, do you really see it on Best Buy shelf?
I don't.
Yeah.
Duplicity.
So anyway, I saw that. It was a movie made watchable by the Grolix boys, making fun of it.
The Mexican.
And then the other thing I started watching is Eastbound and Down.
Nice.
Hook.
Best Buy had the Blu-rays for $20 each.
Kenny fucking Powers.
And I just started it. So far, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I'm only like 3 episodes in, so I don't know.
It's a funny show.
Yeah, it looks just there's no apologeticness of this character. He's just an obnoxious dick to everybody and completely delusional about his own success.
He does have a jet ski and a pool.
Yeah. So
my older brother loves that show. It's like his favorite show on TV.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to check it out.
It's funny. If you like Danny McBride, you'll really like it.
I spent like an hour in Best Buy thinking, like, because I bought all 3 seasons because they're really hard to find on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I was like sitting there going, like, I haven't seen the show, but I think I'll like it. So do I want to get the other 2 seasons while they're cheap right now, or take a chance and just get one and maybe be able to get the other 2 late? But I just went for all 3. And
yeah, might as well.
I'm committed, so hopefully it stays awesome.
I'm just guessing you'll like it. I'm just, saying hey, you'll like it.
So that's it for me.
Oh, so a week for Brad.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just going to keep...
Yeah, no one cares about Julia Roberts.
She's done an animated film? Like a voice in an animated film?
Yeah, I think it's Shark's Tale.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I was going to say, I don't see it here.
No. James, what'd you watch?
So the only things that I watched this week are movies that I was checking off of my my list of shame, as I have been doing. And this was a pretty fun one, or at least the whole week was. So the first one I watched was The Searchers. I'd never seen John Ford's The Searchers, which is really interesting. It's if you haven't seen it, basically John Wayne plays this uncle who comes back into town. He's been at war for a while. Obviously, it's a Western. And some Indians come and like kill the family and kidnap 2 of the girls. And I can't remember the character's name, but he and this other guy who's like they're sort of related. They're like, I guess he saved this kid and then the family ended up adopting him. So he's kind of like the closest thing to a dad, even though they've never spent any time together. Like, it's a weird relationship, but the 2 of them go off and try to run down the Indians and get these women back. And it takes them years. And it's interesting because it's not it's very non-traditional for one of those old westerns, and for John Ford, I think, because it's playing with a lot of like racial issues, and the story is not like a straight up action kind of movie. In fact, there's not a whole lot of action in it, I would almost say. And John Wayne's character is kind of a dick. Like, you honestly think that, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but at a certain point, the other characters start telling you that he's going to do something very bad that you don't want him to do. And so when you're starting to get near the end, that character becomes more and more the villain of the movie, more even than the Indians are. Which is really cool.
Yeah, I saw that movie years ago. My grandpa Leon is a huge Western fan, and when I was little, he'd always have Gunsmoke on. To this day, every time I walk into his house, Gunsmoke is on the TV. And my grandma Lois calls him Bud. She's like, "Geez, Bud, how many episodes of Gunsmoke do we have to watch?" And they've been married for 40-something years. So it's like, yeah. But anyways, yeah, I remember he'd always force me to watch the John Wayne movies and stuff. And
yeah.
I remember this. I've seen The Searchers. I don't remember too much about it, though.
It's funny because, like, I was inspired to make sure that was, like, I really want to check that one off more quickly because of watching Rooster Cogburn a couple weeks ago. And you put the two movies up against each other, and they almost couldn't be more different. Like, they're for both being westerns. One of them is fun and is really sort of an action-y kind of movie, and the other one is this more introspective, big, sweeping, and absolutely gorgeous. There's this whole, on the Blu-ray, there's a pretty good documentary with Scorsese and a couple other directors talking about specifically that movie and the impact it had. And Scorsese goes on this long tirade about why VistaVision was so good, which I sort of, when I got the Blu-ray, I'll be honest, I saw it on the cover, like, oh, it's VistaVision, and I sort of laughed. I was like, oh, that's funny. You know, remember when they used to do that, where they would brag about what kind of film the movie was shot on? But the truth is that, as he explained it to me, like, VistaVision was wildly different than the rest, and the fact that he could have like these big, deep, shots with so much stuff on film, but you could still make out the faces of the actors, and the actors could be acting 25 feet away from the camera, and you'd still pick it up. Like, that was a big deal, and it's part of why that movie, it wasn't appreciated, I guess, as much at the time, but part of why for filmmakers it's been such a big deal. So it was really cool. I'm glad that I watched it.
Sorry, speaking of like weird projection and stuff.
Yeah.
Just walking by my parents' TV this week, I saw How the West Was Won, part of it in CinemaScope, which on television they bend it and it, like, the top and bottom is curved. So the left and right side fit the side of the frames, but the center dips down, so there's like a curved black bar. Because they used to project that movie on like 3 different screens, all at once, so like wrapped around. So, but it's still weird that it actually has to bend to fit.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah, you'd think they would just make it, I guess, thinner,
huh?
Like a thinner rectangle. But
yeah, but then you'd be cutting up the film. Sort of.
Yeah, well, it's already 3 pieces stitched back together. So
that's true. Yeah.
I don't know. It was just interesting, but
it didn't look distorted.
That's the thing. It looks distorted, like it's curved.
Yeah.
Like the center is kind of squished together, and then it gets bigger as it goes left to right.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
Huh. But it's one of those things that, like, I think I'm glad I watched that featurette on it, because I think I would have taken that for granted. That and now I'll probably go and watch some more older westerns and and realize that, like, oh yeah, it's all shot like at mids when they're acting, and then the wide shots they're not acting because they couldn't even make out the faces with normal film. It was an interesting thing. So the other thing that I watched this week was Breakfast at Tiffany's, which I'd never seen.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah, and I sat down thinking, like,
I was bored, but go on.
I sat down thinking, like, okay, this is like one of those very classic romances, and, like, it'll probably be good, but it's probably something I've seen before. It was not at all what I was expecting. That movie's...
How about that Mickey Rooney character, huh?
I'm going to get to it. So that movie's really, I think, fantastic. And the character that Audrey Hepburn plays is bizarrely progressive for, I think, the time that movie came out. I would hesitate to call it, like, feminist, but it's really interesting. I really enjoyed it. It's hard to talk too much about it without giving away too much. Well, I guess I can say for people who've not seen the movie and think that it is like a
over
romance.
The last 65 years,
No, but there are a lot of people out there like me who hadn't seen the movie and didn't really know what it was about. It's not just like two people meet and fall in love. It's that she's sort of hunting for a rich man and is not a hooker, but like an escort. Like she's not having sex for money, but like, yeah, she's like getting paid to go out with these dudes. And then the ones she doesn't like, she's leaving behind because she really just wants to find somebody who's rich. And then she meets a neighbor, and he falls in love with her and has to, make her realize sort of how shitty she is being. And I think the arc that character goes through is fantastic. So yeah, then there's Mickey Rooney, which it's honestly kind of like Mickey Rooney's really funny. If he weren't playing an Asian man, it'd be great. But he's playing like one of the most racist characters I think I've ever seen.
Have you seen The Jazz Singer?
Well, right. Well, no, I haven't seen the original Jazz Singer where there's a man literally in blackface. Like it's, yeah, it's just really unnerving and very cringeworthy when you watch it. And it's such a shame.
Well, do you think
because
it's a product of how we are today?
I would say it the other way. I would say that character is a product of its time.
No, that's what I mean. So when you see it, if you watched it back then, you wouldn't think anything of it. But now, because we're more sensitive,
yeah. Absolutely.
That you notice it more.
I think it's just a shame because, like I said, if he weren't playing an Asian actor, then that movie would be this really spotless gem. But there is this weird thing in there that, honestly, I'm not even sure why that character's in the movie.
Exactly.
Like,
that's what I was going to say.
It's in the movie for comedic reasons, but other than that, like, that character doesn't really serve any purpose.
He's out of place.
Yeah.
It's like someone had a deal with Mickey Rooney, like, oh, we're going to have this guy in this movie, but we contractually we can't get rid of him, so we'll have him do his scenes when really that story doesn't need that character at all.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of a shame. Again, funny, but, and I'll even admit, like, it's kind of even a little bit funnier because of how racist it is. Like,
of course.
There was a part of me that sort of enjoyed those sequences just because, like, this is ridiculous. How is this even happening? So yeah, it's a great movie. If you've never seen it, people need to check that movie out.
Wow, you guys are boring this week. Let me get out my scroll. Hang on.
Oh my God!
How many Jason Statham movies did you see this week?
I saw 5.
Holy shit!
But I'll get to those in a second.
At least this quest will be over fast.
It is. I only have 11 more movies. I got my Scream Factory edition of Night of the Demons.
Oh, cool.
I remember seeing it years ago, and I think I said last week in the podcast, the only scene I remember is this chick's fucking this guy, and she rips out his eyeballs. And yeah, that's in that movie, so I have seen this movie before. It's a definite 80s horror movie where, it has the cliched kids that are like 25 and they're in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the sexed up girl, and there's a girl who's misunderstood, and then there's a guy who's pining over the cheerleader, and he's a greaser from Brooklyn, and
all the horror stereotypes.
Exactly. And they're throwing a party at this place called Hull House, where this girl Angela says, "We're going to look in the mirror and summon this demon." And everyone says, "Oh, Angela,
always a good idea.
Yeah, you're full of shit." And so they look in the mirror and they summon this demon, and nothing happens. But when they turn around, all of a sudden a demon appears in the mirror. And then he possesses one of the girls, and then that girl starts dancing. Then she goes over to Angela and makes out with her, possessing Angela. And
are there now 2 possessed people?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so now the sexed up girl. Have either of you ever seen Return of the Living Dead?
No.
No, Return? No.
Yeah, it's a really great horror movie. You guys should check it out. It's really good. But there's this girl named Linnea Quigley in it, and she's really famous because she gets completely naked and dances on top of a tomb. And so she's in this movie, and she's like 30 in this movie, and she's in high school in this movie. But anyways...
Can you imagine like being her and like she has a friend who doesn't know she like made that movie, and then they rent that movie, and like... call him up. Hey, Linnea, is that you dancing naked on top of a tomb in a graveyard?
Yeah, right. But it was funny because I was watching the making of it afterwards, and she was saying that they asked her to do this movie, and she said, "I'm not doing that movie. I'm almost 30, and you want me to be in high school." And they really wanted her to do it, so she did it. So in that one, though, I forgot there were some pretty creepy parts in it. Besides the part where Linnea is fucking that guy, and she says, "Don't look at me," and rips his eyeballs out. That's pretty cool. Before that, though, she's putting on makeup on her face to make herself look pretty, but she's like creepily drawing it all over her face. Mm-hmm. And then she goes down to her boobs, and as she circles it, she pushes the lipstick into her nipples. So, I mean, it's like a really weird, like, creepy... Like, you just have to see it.
Man.
Anyways, it's just about a bunch of kids getting possessed and killing them. And if you like gory movies from the 80s, you'll like it.
Cool.
I was at Target, and they had a lot of Blu-rays on sale. And one of the Blu-rays on sale was a movie that my wife wanted to see last year that I never got around to taking to her because she was really busy at school at the time, or at her new job at the time. And that's the new Carrie movie. So I got that, and actually, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
The acting in it's better than it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
The effects are pretty gruesome. It definitely earns its R rating. There's lots of cussing in it. The part where she goes, it follows the original movie pretty much. Have you guys seen the original movie?
Yeah.
It follows the original pretty much beat for beat, where Carrie finds out that she has telekinesis after she has her first period, and so she starts. The girls at school make fun of her because she has her first period while she's at school, and so she starts attacking the people that hurt her and her mother, who's played by Julianne Moore. And it's just really, it's actually pretty well done. The acting in it's really good. And the part where she's killing all the kids in the gymnasium is pretty sweet. Because there's this one part where, those fold away bleachers? Well, these kids are trying to climb out the window, and she pushes them in, and like all these
clip their limbs off.
Yeah, they get like chopped in half, and blood goes everywhere. It's a pretty well done movie. I guess it's an unnecessary remake because it follows the beats of the original so much.
Yeah.
But it's also not a bad thing because it updates the pacing of the movie and it updates the look of the movie. So yeah, I enjoyed it. So if you like that kind of...
Yeah, because it's one of those where, like, I like the story and I like the ideas of the movie, but I was never real charmed with the original. Mm-hmm. So I was actually kind of excited about it. The shame was more that the trailers for the remake, I felt like showed me a lot of the way they were going to remake the movie, which was just a shame. It didn't make me excited for it. It made me feel like I'd seen it.
Yeah, that's a bummer, and especially when we went to Regal and it says, Regal First Look. And it was basically...
Like, here, watch the movie.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes long where they were showing you basically all the key moments of the movie.
Yeah.
But I will say that scene where she's killing everybody is pretty awesome. Like throwing people through windows and stuff. And the last thing I watched before I get to Statham was I rewatched the RoboCop from 1987.
Cool.
And it's still a pretty sweet movie. There's just some weird parts in it that I didn't remember. I still remember how horrific it is when Murphy gets killed in that one. When he gets his hand blown off by the shotgun, and he's trying to run away, and then he keeps on getting shot, and then
Do they have one last shot in the head?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually the director's cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a pretty amazing shot because the camera comes up behind. It's obviously a puppet.
He's an animatronic. Yeah.
Yeah, but it pans to I forget the name of the bad guy. Boddicker, and it pans to him, and he points the trigger, and it's in one shot, and it shoots him in the head, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's really violent, but
it's notable because like a lot of the violence that you're seeing in this cut, it was not in the theatrical.
Yeah, and because there's some parts in it too I didn't remember. When they first, what's the name of the walking robot? ED 209.
Yeah.
It comes in, and I remember he wasted that one dude, and it's way more violent than the director's cut.
Oh yeah, in the director's cut, it's like a minute longer of just that guy getting riddled with bullets.
Yeah, he gets shot. He's like, ah! There's just body parts and blood flying everywhere. But it still has a great message for the 80s. It's still...
It's a satire of...
It's a satire of what the 80s
corporate culture.
Exactly. What was really cool on the Blu-ray, this Blu-ray transfer is really, really good. I didn't notice before, but RoboCop actually has like purple in him when he's walking around and how it gleams off of him. I love too the '80s. The dude who crashed into the toxic waste.
Oh
he
yeah,
came out of the bag like, help me. But the makeup effects are badass because
that guy's Jack Bauer's brother.
Yep,
Yep.
the makeup effects are badass because his like fingers are melting off.
Mm-hmm. And he explodes on that windshield.
Explodes on the windshield. You know, it's Verhoeven. And the last scene where Murphy comes in and he says, my last priority is I'm not allowed to kill members of Omnicorp's board or something. And he says, "You're fired. Thank you." And then he shoots that guy and he flies out the window, and then the black guy is smiling and he stands up and gives him the thumbs up for murdering that guy. And then he's leaving and he says, "What's your name, son?" "Murphy." And then the movie ends.
Yeah.
So the black guy giving him the thumbs up for murdering somebody is how that movie ends. But yeah, it's still a fun movie. I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in years. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing when you haven't seen a movie in so long, you still remember like cuts. You know, the shot in the head, the dude getting wasted, you know,
really iconic stuff.
Yeah. And you don't think about it because when I got it, I looked, it is the unrated director's cut. And in my head I said, "Oh, will I even notice a difference?" And you notice a difference. It's really fascinating to me.
And you can hear more about those special effects from that movie by listening to our Phil Tippett interview.
You can.
Yeah.
And it's great. I was watching the special features, and there's an interview of Phil Tippett on there. I'm like, hey, we've interviewed Phil Tippett.
He's a cool dude.
He is. And continuing my Statham-a-thon, I watched a movie called Blitz, which is a European cop thriller about a guy who is killing cops. And Jason Statham is obviously a police officer, but he's a police officer that gives his department an unwanted reputation because he breaks rules, and he's Jason Statham. He's gonna go against the grain. In it, there's a guy from who's in all of Edgar Wright's movies. He's one of the dudes who's I forget his name in The World's End, but he's one of the five guys who goes around.
It's probably Eddie Marcian.
Yes.
Yeah.
He goes around and does that. So he's like the police captain, and he's gay. And so there's always jokes that Jason Statham's saying about him being gay. There's this girl cop who's a junkie, and this guy's just going around killing cops, and Jason Statham has to figure out why he's killing cops. And David Morrissey from The Walking Dead's in it as a tabloid reporter. And the ending's actually really cool. The it's okay. It's trying to play up kind of the Seven angle, but the ending's really badass. They find out who's doing it, and he's already gotten off once, and they chase him up on top of this roof, and it's this really clever exchange. And I'll spoil it for you guys. He's killed. Jason Statham says, "I think this is one murder that's going to go unsolved," and he blows his brains out. And what's cool is this dude is laying there, and there's like brain matter all over the place. It's great. It's an okay movie, but the ending made it really cool.
Cool. Good.
I also watched Death Race.
Yeah.
Which actually is a pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Yeah.
It's I think it's shot really cool. I was interested when his wife was murdered at the beginning. I said, "Oh man, who's setting up Jason Statham and why?" Because
isn't that how you feel at the beginning of every Jason Statham?
Because in this movie, of course, he's an ex-con who's trying to make his life better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the Frankenstein driver is a cool idea, and it's really cool how they figure out how they're being pawns by this game warden, I guess. And Jason Statham, of course, figures it out. And
it's interesting because I like the original Death Race 2000, and that movie sort of takes a lot of the meaning and subtext out of it. By not having you driving across the country because we're overpopulated, so we need cars to run people over.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you take that out of it, I sort of expected oh great, you're just going to end up with a sort of shitty action movie, but it's actually still pretty interesting.
Well, I think the
story they're telling is still cool.
The race scenes are really cool, I think.
Yeah.
They're shot really well. That's the thing with Paul W.S. Anderson. I think he makes his movies look really cool. It's just if he's the writer, it loses a lot. But he's a writer of this one too, so...
at least this time he was asked to do something that wasn't, I don't know, his wife's not in it.
Yeah.
Because she's the worst.
I wouldn't say that, but,
No.
I think... But it was really funny because I was watching special features on that, and I realized that Jason Statham on screen, obviously he's playing a character, but his voice actually changes on screen because they're interviewing him for this, and he talks like this, and he's just saying, I have to make sure that I eat things really right. And
he just sounds like a normal dude.
This sounds like a normal dude.
He doesn't always sound like this all the time.
But, he's not like, I need to know if you're wearing a wire. And this really, like, mellow voice that he does. So it was kind of interesting.
That's cool.
And he's really funny, like, on screen and camera when he's being interviewed, and so it's kind of interesting. And I really like Death Race. I also watched The Italian Job, which is a Marky Mark movie.
But had you never seen it?
I have.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen it in years. In fact, I didn't even remember when it was made. I had to go look it up, which it's 2003.
It was made long ago that Pepsi Blue was a drink.
Yes. And again, this movie's kind of fun. It's not. Yeah. I love the. There's a part with Statham plays Handsome Rob in it, and his character is he's able to talk girls into doing anything. And there's this really funny scene with Seth Green where he tries to convince the cable company to let him use their car, and he can't do it. And he says, "Oh, watch me do it, mate." And he gets up there, and so he's talking to this like really attractive cable lady. And Seth Green is going, "Oh, hi, yeah, my name's Handsome Rob." And that's a really funny bit, and it's kind of interesting. Donald Sutherland's in it for a little bit, and it's a great relationship between him and Mark Wahlberg. It does suffer from, I think, the caper kind of movies around that time, where they're like, "Oh, this is Handsome Rob, and this is what he got busted for, and this is this guy, and this is what he got busted for."
Yeah, where everybody's got a shtick, sort of.
Yeah, everybody has a shtick, but I mean, it's still fun. And,
totally.
And Edward Norton's actually kind of a sleazeball in it, so it's kind of cool to see him have fun.
I like it because it has Charlize Theron in a movie where she's having fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's that and Mighty Joe Young.
Same with Edward Norton. I think a lot of times in Edward Norton movies, he's like, "Oh, look how serious and brooding I am."
Yeah.
In this movie, he just gets to be a sleazeball bad guy.
Yeah. And it's fun to see those actors just be in a movie that's like, yeah, we're going to, you're going to enjoy this.
Yeah. And it was all right. Yeah. Ghost of Mars, John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars, which is fucking horrible.
Jason Statham's in that?
He is.
I don't remember that movie at
Exactly.
all.
You don't remember Jason Statham in it because he only has lines like, "The commander's dead. What do you want me to do, Sarge?" And that's all he does in it. And then you have to put up with Natasha Henstridge and Ice Cube leading and carrying this movie. and then you have shitty editing and directing by Rob Carpenter, which is really disappointing. Because, if you see Escape from New York or...
Rob Carpenter?
John Carpenter.
Okay.
Escape from New York, They Live, and things like that. He knows how to direct action.
Yeah.
And this is really poorly edited. The writing is really stilted. It's just really not a good movie.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is cool where these pathogens are in the air in Mars that turn people kind of into zombies. But it's just too bizarre, and you never believe what you're watching.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird about a movie of Mars, but like when I watch Total Recall, I say, "Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I can get in this world," but I couldn't get in the world of Ghosts of Mars. And for some reason, it was around that time when they had Red Planet and all these other Mars missions.
None of them are good.
And it's really,
I would probably say that Red Planet's probably the best.
I think you're right.
But I don't think it's a great movie.
No.
Like, it's surprising because, that happens every now and then where a bunch of movies that are similar come out. Your Illusionist, Prestige, your Deep Impact, and Armageddon. Usually there's at least one of them where you're like, oh yeah, but that was the one that was worth seeing. Mm-hmm. But that whole Mars thing...
Yeah, it's just an idea that never takes off.
Yeah.
And it's really disappointing because John Carpenter is actually... he's a good director and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the last one is actually one of my favorite Statham movies, and it could be my favorite one. You'll have to see my list when I'm completely done. And it's called The Bank Job. In this movie, he plays an ex-con, right? But they're trying to pull a heist from this bank because there's pictures that incriminate a royal family member. And so Saffron Burrows plays this character where she's trying to get off this drug charge. So she hires Jason Statham and all her friends, and she just has to get these pictures and give them to the government so the government doesn't, so they can indict this one radical. And it's more of a thriller movie. There's not really funny parts in it. And I think it's a really good movie.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters.
And Jason Statham doesn't have his usual "I'm going to kick people's asses" moments in it.
No, like he's actually playing a normal dude.
Yeah,
it's cool.
And there's just really, and they all act really well. The actors in it are British actors that you've seen everywhere. So yeah, that's what I saw this week in my Jason Statham-a-thon.
Cool.
So I only have 11 more movies. There's a chance I could get done by midpoint next week.
Wow.
But I do have to get... Some of them are kind of difficult to find, so it might take me a little longer. But I do know In the Name of the King is streaming on Netflix, so I don't have to purchase a UA Bowl movie.
You should.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That's one of the more fun bad ones. Because when you see things like pay attention to shit like Burt Reynolds' helmet.
Burt Reynolds is in that movie?
All right, first off, pay attention to Burt Reynolds, and then pay attention to Burt Reynolds' fucked up face, and then the weird helmet that's too small for his head that is always riding up.
Interesting.
Yeah, that movie is stupid.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
Oh, I saw it in theaters.
Dude, I can't believe you saw it. I saw a day of the... House
After
of
Dark?
the Dead?
Oh, that one.
And then I never saw another.
Really?
movie.
You've never seen another one? Oh, man. You should not.
Yeah. I say, what are you going to recommend to me? Cool. This is the box office stats.
This is the box office stats.
So everything was awesome for the Lego movie with $69.1 million.
I see what you did there.
It's already made back its money. The biggest probably story is the Monuments Men did really well.
Yeah.
People were concerned that it wouldn't because it got average reviews. But it's still a movie I want to see.
I can't believe the Lego movie is only $60 million.
Only
How is
60?
it?
Oh, how much it cost to make?
Yeah, it only
Oh,
cost
yeah.
$60 million. Yeah. Yeah, that's, man.
Yep.
That's why when you said that, I went and looked it up because I was like, really?
Yeah.
Man. Sheesh.
Cool. So good job. Good job, Lego movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for the
Captured-
sequel.
Capture people's hearts.
My parents went and saw it. They were really impressed. They loved it.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's at 98% now on Rotten Tomatoes. Who's the
Yeah.
one fucking asshole who didn't like that movie?
Armand White.
And just,
I'm going to look it up. I bet Armand White didn't like that movie.
and just say, oh, cool, I don't like happy, goofy stuff. I mean, you can say it's not the greatest movie, but how can you have a good time watching it?
It's going to this year's going to be real hard for that to not be in my top 10.
Black-hearted
I'll be honest.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Hey, that's what was in theaters. What's coming out on Blu-ray that we can purchase?
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
There's a third season of Game of Thrones out this week.
Cool, I can't wait to get it.
You're the worst. No, the real thing you're waiting for is the Darkman Collection.
Oh, yeah, that
edition.
already shipped.
Is it all three? Is it the whole thing?
No, it's just the first one. The other two
okay.
don't matter.
Well, no.
I know I'm looking forward to the Criterion Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Does it have?
You know what's funny is
Already ordered.
I was looking for it this week. I'm like, where the fuck is that movie? I want to get it. Did it sell out? And I looked. Oh, it doesn't come out till next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I won't actually get it because I paired the shipment with An American Tail, which comes out in March. So
on Amazon?
yeah.
No, they'll ship them separately. They'll ship them separately. Yeah.
But it told me to wait.
No.
So that
I
could-
do
pay
I do
for
it all the
shipping.
time. Dude.
They're gonna.
You have Prime though,
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't have Prime.
so I'll be waiting. But
oh,
it's just a few more weeks.
I don't.
Just 2 weeks.
I don't understand how you exist.
I love my Prime.
I am $80 richer per year. So
Yeah.
So yeah, the Criterion edition of Fantastic Mr. Fox, as well as Alfred Hitchcock's Foreign Correspondent, both come out this week. I might get. I've never seen Foreign Correspondent, so
Neither
I
have
might
I.
pick that one up. There's another season of Nurse Jackie, which
That's still
I
on?
didn't know was still on the air, as well as Beware the Batman: Shadows of Gotham, Season 1, Part 1 on Blu-ray. I guess that's the new Batman show.
which is canceled, I think.
Well, this is Part 1 of Season 1. It looks. I don't like the animation style.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith says it's awesome though.
Yeah.
Well, he says everything about Batman. That's
yeah,
awesome.
He loves Batman's dick.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. This is what's happening in the movie news. We call this segment Real News. In the movie world. Wait, I messed that up. Here's Real News.
It's real news.
So Shirley Temple died this week
Oh, bummer.
at 85.
So
which-
she's no longer on the good ship. She's
Death, it surrounds us.
The kind of cool thing about this was reading about. I didn't realize like how much shit she's done.
Oh, yeah.
lately. Like
When
all the
she
work
re-
she's done in Africa and things like that.
when
She was a badass.
Yeah, when she was retired, she was appointed by 2 separate presidents to be ambassadors to different countries.
Yeah, that
A lot
was
of people
really
didn't know
cool.
that about her.
Died at 85. Like good for her.
Yeah.
Way to go.
And a cute kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And absolutely adorable. Avengers started filming this week, and we also got word that they are definitely working on making a Black Widow movie, which I think is cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make Jingle All the Way 2.
What?
But it won't have Arnold Schwarzenegger
Fuck
in
it.
it.
I don't want to see it.
It's going to have, Larry the
Tom
Cable
Arnold?
Guy? No, Larry the Cable Guy. How much do you not want to see that movie right now?
The first one's not good. That one even sounds
Yeah,
worse.
I know. And it has Schwarzenegger, who is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's not like I remember seeing it when I was like 10 or whatever that movie came out, and even then being like, yeah, that wasn't very good.
Yep.
And I like toys. What was the movie about
Back
toys?
up. You like toys in general. I thought you meant the
No.
Barry Levinson
It's like
toys
his
with
review
Robin
of
Williams.
Rush. It's about a rivalry.
It's about toys. Yeah.
So
yeah,
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. It's about
I
toys.
like toys, James.
I like toys. The kids who've been making a remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark for like 20 years. This is a guy who's making a. You know about this, right?
Yep.
Yeah. There's a guy who's making a. What?
It's not done because they screened it at the Alamo.
So that's the thing. So it's sort of been done for a while, but there's a guy who's making a documentary about them right now. And so as part of that, they've put together a Kickstarter because there's one scene that's not in it because they could never figure out a way to do it, and that's the flying wing sequence. The whole fight with the big bald dude around the flying wing, they could never really figure out a way to make that action sequence, so it's always been missing. And every time they screen it somewhere, people always are begging them, like, oh, you got to do that sequence. So, I mean, they've been making this movie for 20 years or something like that, so the guys are drastically different in ages than they were when they started, which I think is part of the charm of the whole project. But sort of to cap off their whole experience and the whole saga, they're doing a Kickstarter so they can raise some money to film that sequence, which I think is kind of badass. I've never got a chance to see this thing, but I've seen like little snippets of it. So I'm really interested to see it. I want these guys to succeed at everything they do because I just think they're like, I wish I were those kids. And I think a lot of people do.
You can be, James.
No. I'm too old now.
The only thing that's stopping you is your own self.
Yeah.
And then the very last thing, which I actually think is the most amazing thing on this list, because I never thought this was going to happen, is that they have announced this week that they are going to release The Wonder Years on DVD and I assume Blu-ray, but
Here I am sitting around thinking it was already released.
No, you
think
can watch it on
is.
you can watch it on Netflix, but they've changed the music and stuff. So they're releasing it with, I forget how they said it, but it sounds like almost all of the music intact. So they figured out the rights on all this stuff. It's taken them forever. But
Joe Cocker at his best.
Cock.
Anyway, I just think it's really interesting. It's not something I ever thought was going to happen unless copyright laws change drastically.
Well,
but
Brad
clearly
was always waiting for the Batman 66 to come out. It's coming out as well.
Yeah, did you guys ever talk about that?
No. Because James doesn't care about that. He cares about dead people
You
and...
son of a bitch.
Sorry,
It's the most
if you
important
were
news of the year.
ever on the show, we would talk about these things.
Screw you, man.
But yeah,
You
that's
take
coming
3
out
weeks
as well.
off, you're a pariah.
What is it?
The Batman
Tell me about
DVDs?
the Batman. Yeah, tell me. I don't know. That's why
I
I
really
didn't
didn't pay attention to that at all.
No, I didn't hear about it. Yeah.
That's big news, too.
Like for nerds, that's like one of the most important things. So they're finally releasing the 1966 Batman series as a complete set. They're not going to try and milk us by doing individuals, with all the rights intact. And yeah, I'm excited to see it. Hopefully, it's only on Blu-ray or Blu-ray DVD combo. Better not be, because they put a lot of TV shows out only on DVD.
Yeah.
Even high def shows. So
How I Met Your Mother.
just give me the Blu-ray and we'll call it even. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, How I Met Your Mother's not
How
on
Much
Blu-ray.
Mother? What's the other one? Community.
Yeah.
Yeah, Communities only. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird.
Family Guy.
Family Guy. Yeah. So that's exciting, and it's like sometime this year. It's like probably. I imagine they'll do like a big San Diego Comic-Con reveal.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 months later, or probably Christmas
I think it's in the middle of the year.
in the middle. I hope
Yeah.
so. I
It would-
can't wait.
It would make sense for it to be near the fall, and you put it in every single stocking.
And then there's another piece of news I think you didn't touch on because it's casting news, but Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
No, we talked about that weeks ago.
Did you?
I believe so. Yeah.
All right. Well,
What do you think
'Cause
about
it was
Jesse
weeks ago.
Eisenberg as Lex Luthor?
I don't care about casting. I mean, anyone. It's unusual. That's
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. And, like anyone can be. And you're an actor. You can do anything.
Yeah.
The proof will be on the screen.
Yeah,
So
it works for me.
I get the social. I haven't seen the social network, so I
Really?
don't, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great.
But I can see what they're trying to do, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not what makes me not interested in that movie.
I don't want him to play that same character either, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like in a lot of movies, he's kind of the same fast talking, confident character.
He's like the Jewish Vince Vaughn.
Is Vince Vaughn not Jewish?
I don't know.
Interesting. I'm not entirely sure that Jesse Eisenberg is. I guess his name is Eisenberg.
Yeah,
I think
so
the only
that's a
thing
very
I've seen
Jewish
him
name.
not be the same character in is Adventureland.
Yeah.
So
Well, but you also have not seen Social Network, and he's not the same in Social Network.
okay,
Kind of. He's the same.
is he?
Mm,
Is he
Anyway.
in the same? Is the Social Network character the same as the Now You See Me character? Because I imagine it is.
no,
No.
I don't think so. I think those are more similar than like Social Network and Zombieland, which are drastically different characters.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Zombieland.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cool.
that was news.
This is a comic book James is going to tell us to read. It's probably some bullshit.
It's not bullshit.
What's up, nerds? It's the Comics Corner.
No, so I was at Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics last week, and was just looking around, and I saw this book that was written by Scott Snyder with art by Sean Murphy, and I was like, dude, I'll pick that up. And so I asked Andrew about it, and I was like, hey, have you heard anything about this? Is it any good? And he looks at me and goes, you haven't read that yet? And I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to pick this up. And you should, too. It's called The Wake. The way that Andrew pitched it to me was he was like, it's like Alien, but with mermaids. What's even more interesting about this to me is that it starts off like in the way future after some kind of apocalypse has happened, and it's just a couple pages. You just get this little glimpse, and then it jumps back to basically this dude shows up and hires this woman whose name I forget, as always, who is she studies like whale songs and things like that. And he hires her and brings her to this like underwater submarine base because they've captured this weird creature that is obviously a mermaid, and he wants her and this team to help him figure out like what the hell this thing is, other than that it's a mermaid. And of course things go very wrong very quickly. It's really badass. The art is gorgeous. I think the characters are really interesting. The way he's layering, because there is even another sort of story going on at the same time that I'm not telling you about, that where like an issue will start and he'll just give you like 1 or 2 pages of something very weird, and you don't know where you are, what that part is about, and so that's why I'm not telling you, because I don't even know what he's doing with it yet. But it's really intriguing. I think it hits a lot of the beats that you've seen from horror movies like Alien and things like that. So it's not necessarily like the most original thing, but I've never seen it in comics. So it's really entertaining. It's a pretty easy read, and a whole lot of fun. It's very quickly becoming one of my favorite things that I'm reading right now. If it can continue to be as good, because it's only on issue 5. And one of the really cool things about it is that obviously it must have got a whole lot of buzz very quickly, because they did a 5-issue re-release where you can get the first 5 issues in one like big book, and they've got a whole bunch of them at Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics. So go over there, pick one up, talk to Andrew, ask him to tell you what other stuff you should read, and enjoy. That's the book.
Nice. You guys have the weirdest books.
You're gonna read this and you're gonna be like, yeah, that was pretty
I'm gonna be
badass.
like, oh man, it's just like Aliens with mermaid. See, I said aliens, not like alien, just to piss them off.
No, it is. It's more like Aliens than it is like Alien.
Anyways, this week we went and saw RoboCop, the new RoboCop. I'll get to you because you're the RoboCop fan in a second. Okay.
Oh, God.
Okay,
Come
James.
on.
James, should people go see RoboCop?
I'll be honest, I haven't quite decided on this one yet. Like, I think there's a lot of really interesting ideas here, but I don't think it necessarily does anything new, and I ended up being kind of bored through most of it. So I'm not sure. I think it's a renter. Yeah.
Brad, should people go see RoboCop?
I was pleasantly surprised. It's definitely a more dramatic version of RoboCop, and there is like it is derivative, especially in the action scenes. but there's like one sequence in there that makes up for the lack of ultraviolence, and that is pretty interesting to me. So I would say give it a try.
Yeah, I'm kind of in between the both of you. I think it's a renter, but I also kind of enjoyed watching it. I liked the Michael Keaton character a lot.
Yeah.
Every time I see him on screen, I'm like, why is that guy not in more movies?
And Samuel L. Jackson.
And Samuel L. Jackson was good in it. After watching the old RoboCop, it kind of has the same beats to it. Mm-hmm. But you're right, this deals more with the man in the machine than the machine. So here's the trailer for RoboCop.
What if I told you that even the worst neighborhood in America could be made completely safe? How do I know this? Because it's happening right now in every country in the world but this one. It is great to see American machines helping to promote peace abroad. So then tell me, why can't we use these machines here at home? Why is America so robophobic?
We need to give Americans a product they can love. Figure they can rally behind.
We can't put a machine on the street.
Forget machines. They want a product with a conscience. Something that knows what it feels like to be human. Give your mom a kiss.
Hi, baby.
Too slow, boy. We're gonna put a man inside a machine.
Time to wake him up.
Make him more tactical. Let's go with black.
Quality Control, EM208 versus Tin Man.
Wow.
We are going to make a lot of money.
He's coming.
Gonna play good cop, bad cop? Bad cop, Robocop.
He's undoing what we did to him.
Shut it down!
Thank you for your cooperation.
The story is kind of the same, where Omnicorp is trying to figure out a way to introduce robotics into enforcement. It has an interesting opening where, is it in Pakistan is where it opens, or some Middle Eastern country?
Yeah.
And what are the names of those?
The ED209s.
Yeah, ED209s are there, and and they have mandatory checking where people have to come out in the streets and they have to deem them a threat or not. And, of course, these people decide they're going to go on a suicide mission to prove that these things are stupid. And that's no problem. Well, they're attacking them. Of course they're going to shoot them.
Well, I think their idea was because the news station was portraying this as like, oh, look, America is policing the world and making peace for everyone. Mm-hmm. And so they wanted to, while they were on TV, get some violence out there so that Americans were sort of shocked and woken up, I think was their idea.
But I still think, though, the scene where that machine wastes that kid is pretty violent.
Yeah.
It wastes that kid. And then it cuts to Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson is great in it as one of those CNN, Fox News, MSNBC guys.
Yeah.
Where he only wants to put across his point of view.
Sensationalist.
And I think it's the closest the movie ever gets to the Verhoeven like satire.
Yeah.
It makes up for all
commentary,
those goofy commercials and like the news anchor things. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The modern version.
So then you're introduced to Detective Murphy, and in this one, he actually they show him with his family and how he's kind of just a nice guy, but he's a really good police officer.
And he's been working there for a while. It's not like he just
transferred.
In the old one, he just got transferred. Yeah,
that's right. And him and his partner are working undercover to uncover basically another arms dealer in Detroit.
And this time, Detective Lewis isn't a woman.
Mm-hmm. It's the black guy from The Wire, and I don't know his name.
I was going to say, that's how you identify him, the black guy
Omar.
to you.
His name is Omar, right?
In
The Wire. His name is Omar in The Wire.
And his partner ends up getting shot, and then he's targeted because they find out that he's an underworking cop, and you've seen the trailer and just heard it. Murphy's blown up. It's You know, I do like the scenes. I love Gary Oldman in it.
Yeah, I think Gary Oldman is probably my favorite actual character. Like, Michael Keaton is the most entertaining, but as far as a character who actually has to go through some emotions and struggle with things, I think he's the best.
Yeah, and it's really cool because I like too in the old one, it kind of just had some POV shots of him becoming RoboCop, and in this one they showed what it was like to actually become RoboCop. And here's a really cool scene. This is my favorite scene from the movie, and I'm so glad it's on EPK. It's Michael Keaton and Gary Oldman, and they're reviewing the RoboCop's performance in this simulator. And there's a line in it, and I'll let you listen to it first, and I'll talk about it afterwards.
We need to give Americans a product they can love. A figure they can rally behind.
Sir, I have dissected this bill. There are no loopholes. We can't put a machine on the streets.
Forget machines. You saw the polls. Americans don't want a machine. They want a product with a conscience. They want something that knows what it feels like to be human. We're gonna put a man inside a machine.
I just love the line where Michael Keaton says, he says, yeah, see, he's doing it. And then Gary Oldman says something like, he's doing it. And Michael Keaton says, yeah, like an hour later. Because he has this hesitation, and that's the point they're trying to make, is that you can, if you're going to keep a human element in this machine, he's going to have compassion.
Yeah.
He's going to have
weaknesses.
Yeah, he's going to have hesitation when he's going to pull the trigger. And I actually think watching this one and then watching the old one, they do a really good job of not making RoboCop so robo. If I had one complaint about the old one, is when Peter Weller walked, he walked like a robot, and in this one is more sleek. He's the part where he's picking out people in the crowd is really cool. But they still deal with the emotional impact of him losing his family and losing his whole body except for his one hand and his brain. That
was like my favorite scene, was having him pulled apart and like. Coming to terms with the fact that he's basically just a brain and a chunk of lungs and a hand.
Who's that actor's name? Joel Kinnaman?
Yeah.
He's really good in that. He's really good in
he
the
did
movie.
a good job. But yeah, like I agree, Gary Oldman kind of got more of the emotional, like Joel Kinnaman as RoboCop and his family. It's kind of like a straightforward.
Yeah, it's
like you expect it's going to turn out the way it does.
Right.
But Gary Oldman has more of the moral conflictions with like, do I take his humanity away? Do I please my boss?
Right.
Like all those conflicts.
But there's also that great part at the end where, spoilers, Michael Keaton says, hey, you need to kill this guy. Get rid of him because he's thinking too much. And he says, okay, I want all this stuff. And Michael Keaton says, oh, sweet, I got him on board. And then you find out he's racing down there to save him. And it plays out. It's really fascinating. What's the scene you're talking about, Brad, that's badass? Because I think I know what you're talking about.
I told you when he's like, his lungs are in
that
chamber
scene.
and he's like pumping away.
I thought you meant like an action scene.
Oh. I'm trying to think if there was a cool action scene. A lot of it was kind of standard.
Those are the sort of two big sweeping things that I think were disappointing to me. Like that hold this movie back from actually being great. Because, like I said, I think the ideas, like Gary Oldman as a character, the way I disagree with the fact that they still made RoboCop so big and clunky and paid homage to the old one so much. Like I would have built him differently.
I love the Easter egg when they're reviewing stuff on the screens, and they almost allude to the fact that this is like a RoboCop set in the future. So it's the same story playing again, but it's actually the same future. Because they have plans of the old RoboCop displayed on the screen, like the old clunky design, which is fun.
But I think it takes too long to get RoboCop doing stuff. Like there's so much time of them explaining the RoboCop that I'm interested in Gary Oldman's story, but I'm also bored because you're explaining to me a RoboCop and you titled to the movie RoboCop. I get it at that point. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it just took a long time to get started, and
the movie's almost only like this is how he works.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And some of that is cool, but it just feels a little long in the tooth,
which makes the action scenes boring because there's like the simulator. Right. And then, like, he rides around the bike. And then, actually, the worst action scene, I think, is... so they've got their own version of the crime gang leader. I forget this one's name, but he's made it... Like, he sets up... Murphy's solving his own murder, and you think like this guy is the main villain of the movie, right?
Right.
And then he goes to that warehouse and wastes everybody, and in the darkness, that guy just gets shot.
Yeah.
He has no personal like resolution with him.
It's just like,
he just gets shot.
Yeah, I sell guns, and I was killed because Robocop.
And I've got to stop him.
Yeah.
And then they don't even have like an exchange. He just gets wasted in the firefight.
Yeah. So that's the other thing is that I feel like if this movie were rated R, they could have had some really badass, gruesome, cool action scenes in it, but the action scenes end up being kind of derivative.
Yeah.
And so it all of that build-up would have worked if at the end we had this really great payoff with the action, but I don't know.
I actually think the best action scene was the second simulator, where he goes in there and they're trying to test if he can get away with it after Gary Oldman's adjusted his mind, where the machine takes over, even though Murphy thinks it's him doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's in that warehouse and he's just capping all those droids and stuff. I think there's some really cool moments in that.
Yeah, I think it's shot interestingly.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of stakes in it.
No, there's
so it's
not.
like it looks cool, but
yeah, I mean, it looks cool, but there's nothing really.
Yeah, because even with Jackie Earle Haley's character, who's cool but kind of flat, even he is not able to make me feel like, oh, okay, well, in these training simulations, he's actually in any danger. Because I know, like, he's not even on the street yet. Like, he can't be in danger yet. You haven't even built a Robocop at this point, you know. Yeah. It's all right. Like I said, I wouldn't have built him, though. Like, he still looks... He looks very 80s to me. I wouldn't have built him.
I think you have to, like, if you... Because that original design is so iconic. Like, they... Even as far as they went changing it, like... You're straying from alienating like the original fans.
Yeah, but fuck them.
I think actually, if you watch, I think it's way slicker, because in the old one, his shoulders go way higher.
Yeah,
and it's really bulky.
Yeah, he looks like he weighs 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, in this one,
but he still looks like a dude in a suit. I think that's my issue. Is that like I would have CG'd his legs a little bit smaller. I would have CG'd his shoulders even smaller.
Isn't he supposed to be a dude in a suit though?
No, he's supposed to be. No, they took all of his suit away. He's a robot. He's a robot with a pair of lungs in it, so you only need the chest to really have any weight to it, and then the legs should basically look like armored versions of the ones in that like the wounded soldiers and stuff have. That's the only
Yeah, I think he'd be less interesting like that. Like, if he's too much closer to just a regular man with like metal plates, on a regular frame, then it just doesn't feel like he should just be like a regular cop. I
think I was expecting them to explain why he was bulky by having like more stuff like the gun coming out of his hip and stuff like that. But basically that happens once, and then
I think they kind of did because like early on when they're in the ward and the guy's playing the guitar, like no one's figured out how to like flesh over that design. So maybe like scientifically they're just not there yet. So he has to be bulky.
Yeah, see,
that makes sense
to me, because they do say too that he has to have he has armor on him.
Yeah.
So that armor is probably protecting all the
which doesn't even stop a 50 caliber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is protecting all the pistons or whatever is in them, the hydraulics.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me. I think it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool when that armor was riddled away. Like in the original, you don't see all the parts moving inside, but
that's when I thought it was the most badass.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
And I'm glad he stuck with the silver suit at the end because I was like, oh, black, of course.
Yeah.
Marketing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I saw it Wednesday, so I'm a little farther removed from you guys. But now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, I'm actually liking it more.
Yeah, like I said, it's I'm in the middle of it. I mean, I don't think it's a bad movie.
It's not as shallow as I expected either. Like, it actually has kind of a deep moral story.
Right,
it, but
exactly.
But it doesn't excel either.
No, it's a fun.
It's a good start.
Yeah,
if they're gonna go for sequels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since they've got all the setup out of the way.
Yeah. I bet a sequel to this movie would probably be badass. But I think I said the same thing about Total Recall. So that
Well, they've never made a sequel.
Yeah.
They've only made a remake.
Yeah. Can there be a sequel to Total Recall?
In that one. They set that one up.
I don't recall.
Even though I got it on Blu-ray for $4 on Amazon, I haven't watched it yet. I'm too busy watching Jason Statham, knowing if people are wearing wires and things like that. I got time to look for other shit.
Oh, they should make Statham what's his name? Kane from RoboCop 2.
Sweet.
Distributing Nuke.
I know. I'm really excited to see a Fast 7 because he's a bad guy and he doesn't play bad guys very often.
He plays guys who used to be bad guys.
Yeah, who has a heart of gold. He'll probably be that in Fast 7 too. There'll probably be some other
Oh yeah, I killed that dude, but I'm really a good guy.
Yep. He was stealing drugs from me.
Yeah.
Drugs that make your car go faster.
You didn't even know he was actually a horrible person.
Yep.
He was abusive.
So we're here next week. What are we seeing? 3 Days to Kill or Pompeii?
My argument is probably for Monuments Men.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen that, and we don't have to see something that did come out this
That's
week.
Fine. So we're seeing Monuments Men.
I guess if we of the two, maybe 3 Days to Kill.
Yeah,
because Costner.
I think it's still up in the air. We'll keep thinking about it.
I think with 300 coming out, Pompeii is gonna make me not like 300.
So you don't want to watch Pompeii because you want to like 300?
Maybe not pay in the theater ahead of time. I don't know. It's like that period
because they're both going to be mediocre
CGI.
Yeah,
washed out, stylized.
Maybe 300 is going to be good, but
or just watch Monuments Men. That's fine.
Yeah. We'll see Monuments Men.
Okay.
The decision has been made. Monuments Men.
Cool.
Then you even have an easy title, Monuments Nerd.
Yes.
Is this one going to be Robo Nerd?
I don't know. Probably not that on the nose. I didn't even think about it.
No, I got you thinking. Until next week, bye. Visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can tweet us at real_nerds. You can email us even, realnerds@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. Hey, stream us on Stitcher. You want to call us? 720-6nerds5. And download us on iTunes. Just search Real Nerds. Thank you, Joe Kempter, for the wonderful voiceover. And also Spark Mandrill for the wonderful late-night jazz smooth sounds of movies. You can find him on SoundCloud. This has been a Nebulous Visions production.